how to prepare for a panel presentation. It's so exciting. You're going to be moderating a panel discussion, and that is awesome. And you know that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. My name is Kristen Arnold, and I am a professional panel moderator and a leading authority on panel discussions. And I know as a professional facilitator that planning in any meeting that I facilitate or a panel that I moderate, I generate such ease and breeze in the actual moderation. So most of my work as a facilitator or as a moderator is in the planning. Now, every once in a while things go a little sideways, but for the most part, if I've invested in that planning piece, I will be that much more successful on the back end. So let's find out how you do that. Planning is the key to success. There's no doubt about it. And in this video, I'm going to take you through 9 areas that I go through that pretty much help me think about the panel and make sure that it's going to be the hit of the conference. Let's dive right on in. The first step is to do your research. You're going to research the topic, you're going to research the panelists, and the audience. So let's talk a little bit about this, because why are you doing this research? Really, it's to get a sense for the context and the flavor and the personalities of who you're going to be working with on the stage, but also you want to find out where that diversity of opinion is, where the juicy nuggets are, the list of questions. So as you're Googling your panelists, researching your topic, now if you've been working in that sector a lot, you might want to find out what's going on recently, what's most currently going on. So don't just blow past that because you go, oh, I already know. No, find out about what's going on recently and talk to your panelists about what they think is going on around that topic, as well as think about your audience. What does your audience need to know? In fact, you might want to see if you can have the meeting organizers send out an email or do a little bit of a social campaign to get an idea about what the audience wants to know about that topic. So you're going to do this research for you to just kind of get a sense for what's going on, but also to develop a list of questions that you might want to ask. Step 2 is to create the panel format. So this is where you can decide how creative you want to be. There are typically 7 steps to a panel discussion. Well, there's a start, there's an intro piece, there's a moderator curated questions where you ask the questions of the panelists, there's a Q&A, and there's an ending. You get to decide whether you want to do all of them or none of them. That's called structure. Format is the how you're going to execute on that one. And that's where creativity comes into play. So we've got lots of opportunities for us to be traditional, where we basically follow those tasks right in order. Or you can say, do we even need to do introductions? After all, the promotional material has their bio in it. You may or may not decide to say the bio, or maybe there's 2 sentences off the bio. Or you can say, oh, let's just start with an interesting factoid. Or you can say, let's just dive right on in. It's up to you. These are choices that you make in deciding what the format is. Is there a way that you want to creatively start the panel discussion? Is there a way that you're going to do the moderated Q&As? I love to do lots of different ways. In fact, I wrote a book called 123 Ways to Add Pizzazz to a Panel, where you would see all kinds of different ideas. You get to decide that in that preparation. We have a video on that too, so you might want to go check out that video. The next step is to figure out how you're going to start. Write your welcome. Now, audiences are really judgy. They'll decide whether they want to stick around for your panel within the first minute or so. And if it's not interesting, they're going to walk out with their 2 feet. I call it the law of 2 feet. They're just not going to stick around. So you want to make sure that you're opening, you start strong, you start confident, you start with something compelling. Maybe it's a compelling statement, or maybe it's a hook that makes them go, ooh, I wanna listen to this. Just don't start with, is my microphone on? It drives me nuts. Have all of that in preparation. Your microphones are on. Okay, so you're thinking about how is this all going to work out? You want to start strong, write your introductions. I'm not a big fan of having your panelists introduce you. Just not. Or introduce you, for panelists to introduce themselves. I'm just not. Just not. Because they might follow your instructions of keeping it short, or they might take forever. So why don't you introduce the panelists, if at all, and then figure out how you're going to make that segue between the introductions to your first question. My preference is that I actually bake in the first question with the introduction. So for example, Kristen, I understand that you're a professional panel moderator. Do you really get paid to do that? Oh, okay. Actually, I have a video on that one too. That's an interesting question, right? Or Kristen, I understand that you've moderated over 500 panel discussions. What has been the one most important thing for the audience to understand about that? That's got me hooked. I'm interested. And that I do a different question to each of the panelists. Not the same. You do the same question. I call that the hot potato. That's called boring. I'm going to give the same question to the panelists. No, the only time I'll do that is at the end when I say, what's the one thing you want this audience to think, feel, or do as a result? In fact, you're going to want to think about how you're going to close. So that's the recency and primacy. Recency is close. They're going to remember the last thing you did. And the primacy is the first thing. So you want to think about the first thing. How are you going to start strong? The next step is to decide your Q&A format. If you're going to have audience Q&A, decide how you're going to do it. There are lots of different ways that you can do it. You can do it live. You can have microphone runners. You can go out into the audience Oprah style. You can just have people shout out. Think through the logistics of how you want that live interaction. Or you could have that seated. By seated means that you have kind of thought them through. You're able to pick and choose. So you can do that by actually putting a plant in the audience and saying, please ask this question. Sometimes I do that if I think that it's going to be a shy audience or I just want to get it started quickly. You could also have people write in questions on an index card and send them to you. You can also use a technology-enabled way of collecting those questions. I love using a tool called Slideshow, which allows you to upvote, and then that way you know what the question is that's on the top of people's minds. Audience Q&A, these are choices that you make as a panel moderator. Let's just take a moment here. I'm curious, how do you like to do audience Q&A? Most panel moderators have a preference and they tend to lean into that all the time. Maybe now you have some ideas about how you can do audience Q&A otherwise. And if you like that idea, maybe you might like this video. Subscribe to it, or maybe even make a comment. Next step in your planning is to determine the logistics. Are you on a stage or not? Are you on the floor? Or are you on a riser? Is there a lectern? Are you going to stand behind the lectern? Or are you going to sit in a chair along with your panelists? Or are you going to be standing and there is no chair? I was moderating a panel just last week. There were 6 panelists, a few too many, and the stage barely had enough room for the 6 panelists. So I was standing next to them. It also allowed me to roam into the audience, which is awfully nice as well. So think through the logistics of the platform as well as where you're going to stand. Think about the furniture. Are they couches? Are they chairs? Are they director chairs? You want to let your panelists know so no naughty bits get shown or holes in the soles of people's shoes. Isn't that the oddest thing? So many weird things that you hear from audience members because of the things that they can see. Think about the placement of the furniture. Is there water? Are there tables? Can people put their books on the table? Are they going to be promoting any of their products? Think through the logistics. One of the other odd things about panel discussions is this thing about microphones. Depending on the AV budget, everybody might have a microphone, or no one has a microphone if it's an audience less than 50 usually. If it's anywhere between like 30 or more, I suggest a microphone. Depending on the budget, you might have to have the panelists pass the microphone around. Make sure that you know what the microphone AV kind of setup is. That's pretty helpful to know, and let your panelists know that as well. We're getting ready to have our panel, pretty close. Now you want to confirm the details with the panelists. They've already been invited. You've already had a phone call with them. Maybe you're going to gather them together on maybe a Zoom call or something. Please, please do not have the panel discussion. They are there to make sure that they understand what the structure is, what the flow is, answer any questions. It is not to hold the panel discussion. You might want to invite them to a meal before the panel or after the panel, just to get them comfortable with each other or to celebrate your success. But you want to make sure that your panelists are comfortable, that they're confident, and that they're going to be taken good care of. Two more things in preparation. One is to assemble the slideshow if you have one. I just recommend one slide that has the name of the panelists, the pictures of the panelists, in the order that they're seated so that we know who's doing what. The last step in preparing for the panel is to help the meeting organizer promote the panel. Ask them, what can I do? Do you want a video? Do you want a write-up? Is there anything that I can do to help you promote the panel? Phew! Those are the 9 steps to preparing to be a panel moderator. And if you want to have a deeper dive, I have a free 7-part video series that will go into much more detail than this. And you can find that at howtomoderateapanel.com or in the description.